Hello and welcome to the DM's Book Club, a weekly book club podcast where we talk about some Dungeons and Dragons and discuss how we might include them in our role-playing campaigns. And we are back for, hopefully, part 3. Well, it is part 3, but...
I was like, where are you going with that?
2.5, but possibly the final episode of our little actual play in the Mortuary. And as always, I'm joined by my wonderful co-host and erstwhile player, Hamilton. Hello, Hamilton.
Hello. It's not always, though, is it? Calling up on everything now, aren't I?
Yeah, but, well, you're a player now.
No,
so
okay, I'm always the player. Yeah, okay, fine. In this episode, series, I get what you're saying.
How are you doing? How are you feeling?
Well, generally, I'm feeling very much on my mic control because you've talked about me in front of friends about how fidgety I am, and I just realised I started fidgeting. You talked about me behind my back, in front of my face.
Yeah, always.
I listened to your podcast, and it was D&D Book Club, and it was, and my co-host Hamilton, he's a hecking fidget, and he's like all over the shop, and I'm like, I gotta lay down the law, and I'm like, oh shit. Yeah, all right.
But it happens to me all the time as well.
No,
I cannot tell you how much I've edited me out of dropping stuff and sort of going blah, 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 so it's all fine.
Yeah. I try and keep these little secret chats because we have a chat before we normally record, and I keep something in reserve to just give to the players live.
Yeah, you're ready for me now. You're like, I'm coming for you.
Yeah, I've had that locked away. I was like, I could talk to you that out of context. No, I'm going to talk about this on the podcast.
Now.
I always know that you can edit, so it'll be like, hello, welcome to...
Yeah, and you're like, I'm here too.
Yeah, hi. Yes, but in terms of, you were going to ask me another question, which I think was... How am I in the game?
How are you feeling about where we are in the Mortuary?
I'm really enjoying it. I'm really sad about Rhymes' death.
No.
I liked it. I grew attached to Rhymes very quickly. And you played them very respectably, and in the sense of like, they seem like a really stand-up person. And I was like, oh, okay, they've died again. And they were really excited to go see Sigil. So I'm glad I've got them in my soul trinket, which we did want to talk about, which was I was hoping that you would thematically allow me to make that a bit more pokeable, like, so I could carry them around a bit longer, talk to them a little bit more.
Yeah. You can carry them around and stuff like that, you're not, basically, it's about, what's the name of the feature again? Sorry.
So I've got like tokens of departed. You can destroy one of your soul trinkets, and when you do so, no matter where do so, you can ask the spirit associated with the trinket one question. It then appears to you, answers in a language it knew in life. It is under no obligation to be truthful. It answers concisely as possible, eager to be free, and then it flies away.
Yeah.
But I was hoping that we could be like, well, I've got him here. He can leave if he wants to.
Yeah.
But I feel like I want to be able to talk to him a bit longer than just the one question.
Yeah. I think maybe, because Pokeball is a way of, like, I know it's what I described it off podcast as like you carrying around, but I'm almost now thinking of like a magic 8-ball. You're not going to like shake him around and then ask him a question, but he'll be there, and you can maybe, you won't be able to bring him out per se.
No, but I can talk to him and sort of like communicate with him and then release. And it's not like I'm going to use them for any like of their effects. It will just be Flavor Flav.
Flav, yeah.
Flavor Town. Exactly, for Flavor Town, for the Guy Fieri of it all. Yeah, that's my plan. That's all.
Yeah. It makes sense. Like Ash, your companion, whilst is helpful, isn't necessarily a back and forth type of person.
It's also just like, I feel like I want him to see Sigil. I want him to make it.
Yeah, no, I did kind of give him some motivations to like, oh, I'll come with you. And now I was like, oh no.
And now I'm like, oh, but now he hasn't made it. And I feel like it's my honor and duty to like, he died for me. So I feel like I should honor his wish of getting him to see Sigil. So, and then he can be free, I guess.
That makes sense. So yeah, I'd be happy with that. Is there any other questions you have before we sort of go into a little bit of a recap?
Yeah, you were going to do a recap, so it's fine. I think, last I remember I was running away.
It's like Doctor Who. You're always running from something. I know, over your head completely. Last time we dived back into the Mortuary, and you found yourself with your new companion Rhymes having a discussion about where to find this particular person you're looking for. You had deducted that it wasn't Rhymes, although it's tricky because you're like, well, you seem to be the most important person that you've come alive, and that was the kind of weird thing, was that Rhymes was clearly dead, very much a mummified corpse, And again, with what we've sort of talked about in Planescape, certainly the Mortuary, bodies from all over the multiverse come here to be processed and to be given off and sent off to different places. He'd found out that Rhymes had come from one of the domains of Dread, a Karanar, I think it was the one I described, almost like a desert-like Egyptian-inspired type place. But he'd never been outside of his domain and had, seemed to have lived a good life, although, was ready to pass on to the afterlife, but then had woken up here. And you had, after a bit of discussion, decided to carry on essentially and try and find what you're looking for, which is, sorry, this is where Fiona's going to be like, we established it was the corpse of this rival wizard, right?
Yeah, it's the corpse of a rival wizard of Eowyn.
That was it,
But I don't know the name. I just know I will know them when I see them.
Exactly. So you passed some checks, maneuvered Rhymes into the cart, a la sort of Temple of Doom, and then you pushed your way on a track down another corridor, leaving behind shipping and receiving. And you'd proceeded for quite a bit until you'd come across two individuals who were sort of blocking the way a little bit. And what I would call a little bit of a scuffle occurred as these
scuffle.
Oh, I call it a scuffle. I mean, what would you call people throwing bugs and horrible worms at you?
Absolute terrifying event. But there you go.
Yeah, so the spawn of Caius was what we rolled in the random encounter table. These two spawns of Caius.
Lucky me.
Yeah, lucky you. And unfortunately, Rhymes took the brunt of it, but not before showing his own powers as a mummy lord as well. But you managed to sort of break their ranks a little bit, although they kept regenerating, the bugs going back up into the various sockets and stuff. But not before burying into Rhymes's skin, remains of his skin. And you managed to save Rhymes at the last moment as he sort of was being taken over by these horrible worms and himself to be almost turned against you into a spawn of Caius, and you trapped him as one of your tokens before running just away, leaving behind the fire spell, I think. Oh no, Ash did some sort of big fire, like a dragon breathing sort of thing, like BB-8 style. That's what I seem to remember.
Yes.
They were sort of screaming in agony, but leaving behind the cart. And you are running through the mortuary.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
Sounds really chill.
So let's start with a survival check, please.
Oh, bugger. +1. That's not one of my faves. That is an 8.
An 8. Can you roll for me a D10, please?
Oh, you, what you doing?
I do nothing.
I don't like this. D10, was it?
A D10, please.
A 9.
Excellent. Sorry,
No.
I'm very excited now. Again, we've described this mortuary as maze-like. You're going down different corridors. You get to points where there's forks. Then you get to points that are like T-junctions and stuff. And you're just randomly going through now because that horribleness, the sort of ickiness, because you had a couple of worms thrown at you. Thankfully, none of them able to attach and bury into your skin. You finally realize that you're running down various corridors that have doors in them. And the stonework itself has shifted into a more sort of, rather than a hewn stone, which seemed like obviously natural sort of pathways almost, it now feels like you are back in places that have been built. You pass a door, you sort of like finally just stop for breath, breathing. And Ash, you can hear like, it's like desperately trying to keep up behind you. And you stopped outside a door made of oak, no windows, anything like that, with a door handle. And on it, it says reception room. What would you like to do?
I feel like I've got away enough from whatever was chasing
You've
me.
been running for a while.
Okay.
Whether it's 5 minutes, whether it's an hour, you've definitely just been, and this is the first point you've stopped for breath because realistically, you're very dexterous. You're very quick.
Yeah. I got a 35 movement.
You're sprinting. Oh, actually, you know what? That's a good point. Make a Constitution saving throw.
I dumped con, but I got an 18.
You ran, but you used it as sort of almost like a marathon, not a sprint. You're not completely exhausted, so you do not take a point of exhaustion as a result of you running for a long time. But yeah, you catch your breath back a little bit. The corridor extends a bit. You can see where you've come from, different, like a corner away. And yeah, you just happen to look up and you are in front of a double door that says, in a little tiny sign on it, reception hall.
Hood on, back again, capture myself, back to the door, open it and move in as if this is where I'm meant to be.
It's the smell that hits you first. I mean, you're used to like being underground and that sort of wet dirt, but this, the smell of like root vegetables hits you properly at this point. And you look around and you're in like a little reception hall, fairly big, or sort of octagonal. You look to one side as benches where people would probably be waiting. And there's like a desk which has like not necessarily glass that surrounds it, but like some sort of field around it, so you can, the person sitting there could look out, and you don't necessarily can go through that field per se. But yeah, you've come into almost like a waiting room, and as you look around, there are people sat on the benches waiting.
It's Beetlejuice.
You can see there's a couple of like skeletons. There is like the odd what looks like a very sort of creature whose head is on its sort of side a little bit on a little plate, just waiting expectantly. Roughly about five or six individuals that are dotted around these sort of many benches, and another individual looks like a woman with a very, very tight collar, very prim and proper, on some sort of typewriter. But it's again that smell of sort of wet dirt, almost root vegetables. That sort of earthy smell. And looking around the actual sort of room itself, there seems to be various paintings. There's very much like a little leaflet stand with various like leaflets, and you maybe catch one of them saying, "So you've died," my first funeral, all that sort of thing, like sort of pamphlets, helpful information that's sort of put off to one side. What would you like to do?
I will pretend I know what I'm doing, and I'm going to try and go to this desk with the pamphlets and describe the person at the desk again. Sorry,
as you get closer and you look through the sort of translucent sort of like field, essentially the force field is what I'm thinking. It's not glass per se. You can see there is like a very short goblinoid type creature actually standing, but they're standing on like a stool to reach the top of the desk, hunched over, big thick glasses, and they're clearly typing away something. Their hands are going quickly across the typewriter. As the cylinder gets to the end, it goes ding.
As I'm walking along, I've got very high investigation. I've got +9, so I've got 19 passive. But I'm happy to make a roll, obviously, as well, to see if I can see if anyone has a paper and a number, like a number ticket. And I'd like to do that first and then see if I can nab it.
Absolutely. So as you're sort of walking, no roll required at this point. You see that quite a number of these people have little ticket stubs. The head on a platter has one sort of just like in front of it, and every so often its eye goes to it. I say eye, it's only got one eye in it. And yet they're all sorts of different numbers. And as you sort of look around a bit more of this room, you can see actually on the desk, like behind it, there is like a magic mirror. Which has clearly, like, every so often it'll go serving, and then gives a ridiculously long number, sort of like it comes up in various sigils and stuff like that, and then it goes proceed to room 20, and then maybe one of the individuals sort of goes. They all look up and they go, and at this point you can see that there is actually a door on the other side of where you came in, opposite. Then there's another door which you think would lead out into probably these rooms. That it's sort of indicating.
So I'm not bothered by the number. I'm not bothered by what papers they got. I just want someone's papers and their number ticket. That's what I want. That's all I need. Just want to steal them, sleight of hand them.
So you're going to sleight of hand them. Are you going to replace it with anything?
I am. I'm going to just replace it with some paper that I might have on me. I probably have like a journal or something like that. So I'll just rip something out, or I will just like some leaflets or pamphlets that I may have, or just pick up some pamphlets that were about as well, because you said there were some about. You
can see there is almost like a ticker taper type thing next to this desk that you could do that and do the Beetlejuice thing if you wanted.
Yeah. I want their papers though. I don't know if they've got any if they've got
I see, like paperwork.
Yes.
Ooh, you don't see any of that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think because everyone's tightly got these little ticket numbers. That's what they have. The little, the little tickets that you get and your number is called. There doesn't seem to be any paperwork.
There's no papers. Okay, fine. So
that you can see. You don't know. And looking around, you see a lot of these people. They don't. If they're wearing clothes, it's more rags. There's no bags or anything like that. They've clearly not come with anything.
Okay. Right.
The lady is just there, like ding.
Well, what I'm going to do then is I'm going to pick up a pamphlet, one of these pamphlets, just a random pamphlet. I'm going to get a ticket.
Okay.
I'm just going to get a ticket, but I'm going to swap it with someone that might have one that's not clearly the last one.
Sure.
I want something that looks like I've been there a while.
I understand. So you pick up a leaflet, and it says something along the lines of, which plane is right for you and your loved ones.
Love it.
and as you sort of open it up, it comes into a huge sprawling map.
Fiona and Hamilton giving you the DM's Book Club Travel Book Club.
Yeah, weirdly at the back it says sponsored by DM's Travel Book Club, and there's something like a sigil of some sort, which you think if you had an electronic device, it would take you to a website that had
black and white.
It changes a little bit. There's a little modron that says, "Hi there. It looks like you're trying to get to the planes of the multiverse." So you take a ticket, and you can see, like, as you look at this, you pull out this ticket, and it's super long. You can see the number sort of goes sort of vertical rather than horizontal. It is that long of a ticket, and you manage to take it out, and it's fine. And then you go and you go sit. The people that are in this room, you've got sort of two skeletons. You have a creature that's got its head on its side with the ticket sort of next to it. It's on a sort of a platter of some sort.
So anyone that looks closer to my demeanor, the closest I could disguise myself into, because...
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, yeah. So there's definitely the most put together humanoid, I'd say, because the skeletons, you couldn't really pass yourself off as a skeleton per se. The head, like, again, you could do the head, but you'd also have to put like on some sort of suit perhaps to hide the rest of your body. Yeah, there is another person there. Looks like a sort of a smaller sort of individual. They're sort of looking around a little bit sort of scared. They seem to be wearing what looks like a uniform of some sort, and they're sort of looking around. They're a bit spotty as well, so you can't think them any more than 17 or 18, but same sort of vague shape as you, but looking around, looking a little bit scared at the waiting room and then down at their ticket every so often.
Okay, so the one that I could feel I could maybe impersonate, I'm going to try and swap my ticket for their ticket.
How are you doing it exactly?
So what I was going to do is I've sat down, and then I'm going to stand up and just be like pacing, looking at the pamphlet, and then I'll just kind of go sort of trip over myself into them, and in the commotion of tripping over onto them, go, "Oh, I'm so sorry."
Using the pamphlet to then switch underneath.
Oh, could you hold this? Swap that.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah,
exactly.
All right. So it's definitely going to be sleight of hand.
Okay.
But here's the thing. I want you to do for me a deception check first. And if you do well on that deception check, you'd get advantage on the sleight of hand.
Got +9 on deception check. So
I thought so.
24.
All right. So you get advantage on your sleight of hand then.
Advantage on sleight of hand, which is +7. First one is a 5, so that makes 12. The second one, best is a 12.
Ooh, interesting.
What? I got a natural 1 on the other one, so it was a 5 and a 1. So I got a 12 as my best.
So you do this sort of bit of a performance. You're used to getting like information off people, and you can see persons holding on to their ticket quite a bit and looking down at it, and so you sort of trip into them. And you go, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Are you quite all right?" But as you sort of look up, the sort of individual sort of looking at you, and you can see is a little bit of a pudgy face. There's definitely indentations where they used to have glasses, if they've worn glasses for a long time, but clearly don't have it anymore. So I'm so sorry. Are you quite all right? My friend, are you dead as well?
Oh, yes. You made me do a voice now. So I'm like, oh, yes, of course.
Oh, yes, hello.
Oh, yes. Oh, horrible business. Yes.
Oh, so are you here in the complaints queue as well? It's such a bad thing. The hotline is just completely down. And so we've been told we have to go the long way round. And it's just so terrible.
I know. I was meant to end up in Arborea, but I seem to have been sent on a travelling journey to Archeron, and I really don't want to go there.
Oh, no, that sounds terrible. I wasn't sure where I would end up. I was just hoping to see Mama again. Well, I wasn't even supposed to be here. There's been a real big mix-up. I wasn't supposed to... Well, I guess I was supposed to die, but then I seem to be alive again now, and I just don't know. And this person is talking to you quite animatedly, because clearly they've not been able to speak to you, and they're clearly quite socially anxious. But as a result, underneath the pamphlet, you're both holding the ticket.
We're both holding the same ticket.
When you're holding something and that person's not let go, but they don't realise it, but it...
Okay, can I try something?
Yeah, of course, that's what I'm thinking.
I'm going to sneeze.
Oh, okay.
I want to try and take it from them in the sneeze. If I can't, and I tear it, I'll go from there.
What is a sneeze check?
Deception again?
I think it is a deception. Yeah, because you're trying to be like, I'm going to say deception to do an overall check, because I've already made you roll quite a few bits already. I think a deception just to see how far you can get.
That is a 23.
Whoa. You just hark back deep down inside to your amateur dramatics days. You remember Hamlet, but no one remembers your Hamlet.
I practiced it with Ash.
Yeah, you practice it with Ash. There we go.
Alas, poor Yorick.
Ash just giving you the lines in their eyes, just like
Yes.
a prompt.
So useful. It's just so easy.
I'd say with that, you just Ash, and the way you rather than pull it out, you pull it down, and so the person also comes down with you, and then, oh gosh, oh no, oh gosh, germs, oh well, that's what got me in the end, I think, and you manage to slip it away. And you can see this person actually looking at them. The sort of uniform they're wearing clearly is some sort of military garb, but it's slightly too big for them in places.
It's depressing.
I know you made me make up people on the spot. I don't know.
And where else would Fiona go?
Oh gosh, are you quite all right? And then goes, well, Mama always gave me and pulls out like a really long spotted handkerchief. He goes, here, you might need it more than me, good sir.
That is so kind of you. You know what? For your troubles, I'm going to give them some coins.
Oh.
But these coins are coins that I would like them to be like multiplanar coins that can be used anywhere. So no matter where they end up, they're just sort of gold. They're just pure gold coins.
Oh,
So
I love
like
that. Roll 2d6 for me. That's how many you give them.
2 and a 5, 7.
Oh, that's so kind. Well, hopefully we'll go back to the orphanage, maybe. That's so kind of you. And then as you sort of like trying a little bit back away and as it's supposed to sort of trying to talk to you a little bit more, there's sort of a ding, 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 ding as you look and the number is called and you look and it's the number that you have taken off this individual conveniently. And it says number... whatever it is, go to room 32.
Now, what does the person do? Do they not get up because they know their number?
They are looking down and they're sort of confused a little bit as they're like, what's because the piece of paper they have and it's just like, oh gosh, and so they're confused in this
Whilst
moment.
they're confused, I'm gone.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking. Is like, oh, that's.
I just wanted to see what they would do, and then I'd like to be out and then of the room before they even. Yeah.
Because I don't think this is my. And the door's already like closed behind you. And you find yourself in another corridor. That smell of root potatoes, by the way, is much stronger here.
Okay. Parsnips.
Well, yeah, that's it. As you go down the corridor a bit of it, you start to look up at the ceiling a bit. And whilst the walls themselves are this sort of brick stonework, like clearly made, the roof itself hasn't been like sealed off. And you can see there is like roots coming down, like not dead or gnarly, but just quite growing. And there's clearly various vegetables growing from it. You can see a whole bushel of potatoes just hanging down randomly. And at every point, rather than having lights in braziers, a couple of the potatoes are the sort of continual flame lit on them. It's a very interesting root cellar you've got yourself into. But as you sort of go down, you can see there are rooms up peel off into other places, and you can see there's a corridor that's sort of rooms 1 to 20, 21 to 35.
So I want to find the room they've sent me to.
Yeah, room 32.
Yeah.
Do you look in any of the other rooms at all? As you go past, there are doors, and they have like little slots cut out of them.
I will be the classic ADHD that I am, and I will look at everything that has something that's moving in. So I'll look, obviously, but I'm not going to be actively like, oh, what's going on? I'll just be looking to see what's going on. Anything I hear.
Yeah. I mean, you do hear quite a few things as they're sort of, as you're sort of going through, you can hear people going, I don't have my death certificate. Why would I have it? I died. Why would I have it? And you sort of pass through another one. He goes, I mean, I guess I got my divorce papers somewhere. And then you sort of go, so you saw these individuals talking to various what look like mortuary admin people, sort of discussing their complaints about their undeath, essentially. And eventually you get to room 32. You see another sort of mortuary admin person, but it's clearly it's a corpse, essentially. All these admin corpses are pretty much the same sort of individualized zombie that clearly doesn't react too much.
On my way there, by the way, I've changed my garb so I don't look so much like them anymore. I look more like a sigilite, if you know what I mean. So I'm less trying to be in. I just want to clarify that as well.
You've turned that cape inside and out to be different outfits several times. Yeah, it's reversible.
Yeah.
Each of these mortuary assistants, as you look back, they look very, very similar because they are pretty much zombified assistants.
Okay.
You sort of go in and you just see the sort of individual sort of look up at you and goes, indicating to take a seat across the desk from them.
Hi there. Nice to make your acquaintance. Not chatty type. Right. So, I see you're having a bit of a problem today. A lot of us coming back alive again, yeah? Yeah, cool.
They turn over to like a tome and start flicking through it to try and find trying to find your sort of record.
Oh, well, before you do that, I'm actually here on behalf of someone. I'm here as their
shuts the tome, gets another tome out.
Yeah. I'm here as an agent for a friend of mine passed away. Two of them actually today. Another friend of mine as well. But we'll just deal with one at a time. Died. They were esoteric wizard. Lived in.
It starts flicking to the back of the book, and you can see there's like you can see there's like S. T.
Yeah, W _ esoteric. Yeah. They have forgotten a very important item that passes them onto their final resting place. If they don't have it, they can't enter their chosen divine gate. It's like I don't know. I'm not a wizard. If you could help me find them and I could give them this, it's more of a manifestational thing than a physical object that I can pass over. So personally, if I could do it myself, it'd be very important. And I can tell my good friend that I've done it.
The corpse sort of looks impossibly slowly. And you can see like it's using part of the remaining finger on its like pointer finger.
It and a bit of skin comes off.
Yeah, the top lip sticks it back on. And it sort of shakes its head, like not understanding, but then it sort of like points to you, then points to a wall. And you can see there's like common phrases like sort of put up there, and it sort of goes, "No ID, no purchase."
Whoa! You need their identification.
And points to you as well.
Well, hold on. So Navarre has a little think. Right. Mm-hmm. He's got a tome in front of him which has wizards on it, right?
It's a massive tome that seems to be like A to Z.
Thousands of pages.
Index of something. Very Terry Pratchett, if you think about it. Like the writing is super tiny.
No, I get it. It's Bible paper and it's Bible text. I get it. And it's
several columns. Yeah,
several columns of it. Well, you know what? What I know is that when they died on this day, today, so that must narrow your search down quite significantly.
Puts the book away, gets out a slightly smaller scroll, which clearly is like the most recent addition. So and it goes down like W esoteric.
How many are there? Can I see how many there are?
There's a couple, a good handful. Yeah,
a couple of esoteric wizards are going to die.
I mean, he narrowed it down from the multiverse.
Yeah. To someone who died today who's a wizard.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
But also the filter of esoteric.
I mean, all I've got to go on is I'll know what I see, which is all like...
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Esoteric is the best I got. But what I'm going to be like is...
Yeah.
So I've got this far. I've got a list of names, okay? I'm assuming this person's not going to let me read this tome, is not going to tell me to go through every single name.
Okay, every so often it does go back to that no ID, no sale thing, and you've not produced any ID, so...
No, I know. So I've got a pamphlet still, one of the pamphlets still. I'm going to minor illusion it as a cantrip to look like identification.
Oh, okay. That's cool. Okay, so you're going to minor illusion... What are you going to put on the... I'm
going to put an ID.
Yeah.
Putting my ID on it, but I'm changing it to the name I gave earlier, which was, I think, James or something like that. I can't remember. Jason or something like that.
Okay.
Well, no. Oh, wait. Okay. Yeah, I've just given them some ID of me.
Sorry, your face could be on it.
Yeah.
I get thinking about the name. Sorry, I've thought of an idea, but I don't want to...
Oh, Rhymes.
Could be Rhymes. I'm sorry. I thought of something and I'm like, no.
Okay, well, okay. I want to know what you're thinking now. You've got a good idea.
Okay, I was thinking you'd put Arwen's name on it.
Well, I was thinking that, but then I don't know how much that's going to... I didn't know how much that would help.
I mean, I don't know. I guess because, I don't know.
I think I'm going to do Rhymes. I'm going to go with Rhymes' name.
Go for Rhymes. Okay.
Because he's a wizard as well. I'll be like, Rhymes, oh, but he died. That's the problem. He died, so they're going to find him on that as esoteric wizard. That's the problem. He's like, no, so I'm just going to put Jason Navarre on there. That's what I put it down. Jason
All
of
right.
Art, my face.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put municipal board of the greatest undertakers of sigils, foundational peoples. Something random like that. Like I'm an undertaker. Yeah, for sigil.
All right.
And my profession is undertaker.
Minor illusion. What's it that I need to do to see through the illusion? Can you remember?
Creature can determine if it is illusion with a successful intelligence check against your spell save DC.
All right.
If a creature uses its action to examine the sound or image, which it is, yeah, exactly.
The creature sort of leans over, and you can see, like, again, it, like, maybe you can hear this, like, pop as the spinal cord sort of, like, gets it back into place. So intelligence.
Against my charisma, which is 13.
You see, I rolled a 13 on the dice. However, zombies have a -4 to intelligence.
Yeah! Yes! Awesome.
So this creature looks down. There is, like, eyes, but it's all glossed over and stuff. This thing's decaying. So you think to yourself, how would it even perceive an actual ID? So it just goes through the motions and it goes, and then sort of like looks through the scroll a little bit and goes, taps something and goes, like indicates you to wait. It slowly shambles up and then goes down to like a door that clearly it'd gone through, and it goes off, and the door shutting behind it.
Ash.
Yes.
Take down every name that is on that scroll that is a wizard who died today. Now. Every single one.
Yes, indeed. Zip. Recording. Instantly, it's done. You get roughly about a handful of like maybe 20, 30 names.
Cross-correlate those with Eowyn.
Ooh. Love that. All right. Processing. One match.
Ash, you fucking genius! Yes! Okay, Ash, now, right. What's the name?
Ash goes to fantasy name generator. Ironically, so Ash sort of like processing goes, name acquired. Enowin.
Oh man, Ash. Are we in the middle of a sibling rivalry? Oh gosh. Oh my gosh, now I get why I will know them when I don't even need to make an intelligence check for this shit. Oh my gosh.
The door opens again and the zombie comes back with a lockbox and sort of like puts it down in front of you.
What's this?
Points to you, points to the lockbox.
Okay, can I investigate the lockbox?
Yeah.
Advantage on investigation and perception checks to detect the presence of saving throw traps.
Do an investigation check, please.
20. You
study sort of the outside of it. Doesn't seem to be trapped in any way. It looks like a very, as big as a shoebox, lockbox. There's clearly like some sort of old padlock on it. But on the top, you can see there is a crest, which you would now recognize as Eowyn's family crest on the top of it. It doesn't seem to be trapped in any way.
Okay, I'll open it up. You got the key?
Points to you.
Oh, of course I do. Sorry. Yeah. Look, see, with the key, it's part of their family ritual that no one sees the key. It's a particular form that when looked at explains a magical secret that unlocks the box.
Deception check.
Thank you. Oh, that was going to be a 20. It's a 13.
Mortuary assistant sort of looks at you, looks at the box, sort of shrugs one of their shoulders. The other one obviously it's dislocated. It's like, and gives off the air of like, I'm not paid enough for this. Turns around and walks off to be on their coffee break, leaving you with the box.
I mean, you could stay if you want. Okay. Right. I'm going to pick this lock.
Go for it.
I just wanted to.
No. So the person was just like, "You've got the box now. I don't care what you do with it."
It's a 19.
Quickly, you get out your little locks, and you got you put everything out quite quickly. You're a dab hand at this as well, and as you sort of like click and turn, you unlock it, take off the lock, and you open the box. And inside, well, you're not quite. I don't know what you expected. You made up this spiel about like a scroll and something family, blah, blah, blah. But inside, you find a skull.
Okay. I'm going to do one of my acts. How many wells in the grave have I got left? I can use one more. This is the one.
Mhm.
I'm going to use one Well of the Grave to speak. See if I can speak to it.
Okay.
The skull.
Okay. You maybe take the skull out, and you can see like it's pretty pristine, not really weathered at all, anything like still intact. You put it on, or maybe on top of the box. There's nothing else. You have a quick look in the box. There's nothing else. And what does it look like when you do your Whales from the Grave?
Oh, I talked about it last time, didn't I?
It was a bit different last time. Yeah.
It was damaging in that sense, but in this sense, it's more the tokens of the departed mix of it, isn't it? But yeah, so what I do is I feel like in this sense, it would be something that comes from like the back of the neck where the matrix plug goes in.
Mm-hmm.
And something like from there would sort of just emanate out and round as like little tendrils of dust, little sparkly metallic dust that float around.
Yeah.
And they sort of then hover around the object and animate it in a face or something like that, so that it then talks using this little magical dust that sort of animates their face as it was.
Oh, yes, almost like when they 3D print over skulls and they say this is what they actually look like.
Or like a bit like those, remember those you put your hands in them and they were metal and it would imprint the hands. They were very big in the 90s.
You could do it with the face as well.
You did it with your face and stuff and did stupid faces. It'd be like that.
Very much,
but all over.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah. And so you can still see the skull underneath. The dust reverberates and sort of settles into the pattern as described, and you get the visage of a young woman who sort of looks at her eyes currently closed in their sort of dust form, but you think the connection has been made.
Hi there. So I have been sent here by what I assume to be your sibling, and they have asked me to come and collect some information from you to pass back on to them.
The eyes sort of like slowly open. Of course. What does she want to know?
Well, I pull out the little piece of paper in the sealed envelope that I was meant to open at this moment in time. This is delivered as written. And I read what she wrote to her, which was, I haven't prepared anything, but I can prepare something now if you want me.
What do you think, given all these sort of like, how you've got here, how important is, what do you think is written on this piece of paper? Given the context of like the skull.
Yeah. I open up the letter and I look at it and I sort of go, I'm sorry. I didn't mean for it to be this way, and I didn't mean for me to reach out until now and through this idiot. But here I am. Well, they are. See, I always respected you. Oh, that's nice. I always respect. Sorry, I won't ad lib. Sorry. Yes, this is important. I always respected you, and you were the favorite. You know you were. You know you were. We're not having an argument. I'm on this end. You can't answer back. So you were the favorite, and it hurt, and I never really got over it, and I know that now, and I knew it all the time, and I wanted to say something, but I didn't, and then it was time, and then you died. So this is the only way I could do it. I'm sorry. You know what for, and you know for everything. So please forgive me or whatever you want to do. I don't care. I just needed you to know. And if you could ever let me know, or you can tell this idiot whatever you want to say, that's all. And I love you. I always have, always will. And I miss you. And there's a little drawing of some sort of flower. I don't recognize it. Show the picture of a flower to them. It obviously means something, I assume. And then I fold it away and don't know what to do with myself.
There is a silence as the image of this woman listens to what you say and processes it. I have a message back
Okay.
for my sister.
Ash, record this.
Recording. Blip. You are forgiven. The staff is in the cellar next to the wine rack. But be careful. It has one charge left. That's all. And the visage fades away. The dust settles down. And you're just staring at a skull.
Well, Ash, that got more intense than I was expecting. Okay. Well, maybe we should. Yeah, I think we're done here. I put the skull neatly and calmly back in the box. I leave the letter in there as well. I close the lid and I relock it with the thieves' tool so don't get in there. And I might be like overly make sure that it's locked, so like it's not. Even I need to fix it or something, I'll try and do that. I'll leave it on the desk, and I won't wait for anyone to come back.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go, but I'd like to go back to the room where I was before, where the waiting room. That's all.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I'll do next when I get there.
Yep. Yeah, you slowly go back, and you can hear that whole sort of, again, other people with their complaints for their various states of undeath. Someone sort of going past like, look, I didn't think I'd need my partner's death papers along with my own. And then another one goes past goes, what, and divorce papers and our death papers? This seems a lot.
Speaking from experience.
I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, and you head back into the room. It's still the same people there.
When I get to the door, I want to burst into the room.
Yep.
My God! And I'm going to go straight up to the goblin line. I was given this ticket. I was given this ticket, and this is not my ticket. I was given this is the ticket I picked up earlier, but it seems to be for this someone else. I don't know whose ticket this is. I know who I bet it was for. It was for that poor chap over there. I think I've got his ticket by mistake, and I've gone to his appointment. It is awful. You better rectify this now, or I'm going to call your supervisor. I know Factol Skull through 6 channels, yes, but I know them. I am Depenthany Depodally de la Third.
Okay. Either a deception, or an intimidation check.
It's deception.
Yeah. You're throwing around names. That was the reason. I was like,
23.
23. The goblin woman looks up and says, what do you mean you took someone else's appointment? And you're just like, blah, 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 blah. You sign the ticket, you point to this poor individual with sort of the big round coat bottle glasses, like, oh, he's been like looking through all these numbers on, and you sort of make a big flourish. He goes, oh, and the goblin goes, get in there, and it sort of changes the system a little bit, and it goes like room 17. It's like, get in there, and it goes, oh, thank you. Oh gosh, Mama and all the 7 brothers and sisters as well. Hopefully, we'll be able to sort all this racket out, and I'll be able to hold their time for tea.
Just needs to write that wrong.
They sort of tootle off down this down this sort of thing, and the goblin woman is like, what do you? Hang on, no, you took a ticket, and is clearly quite confused.
And then by the time she's already looking back at me, I'm already gone.
Yeah, it's like, what? Who was that strange, mysterious chap? You step out of the reception hall, feeling both lighter and heavier with completing your mission, but also this sort of knowledge that your friend couldn't face her sibling, to tell her this in person. Like, you'd never heard of this sibling at all. And even, you thought your friend was the greatest sort of wizard. So this person must have been super powerful, of knowledge, of arcana. But now they had passed on. So that unsettles you somewhat, in the sense of the grand scheme of things, that even the most esoteric of wizards can fall. As you sort of make your way through past some of these other doors, finally finding the one thing you've been missing this entire time, which is a bloody floor plan of this mortuary.
Really? Ash, take this down for future reference.
You get a good floor plan, and you can see that you have stumbled into almost like the public sector of the mortuary, where obviously that's where the complaints and or at least where people could come to air their grievances in a sense. So you manage to find a stairway or two, and you suddenly find yourself out back on the streets of Sigil, down like one of the alleyways around the back of the mortuary, perhaps, again looking at those sort of like almost finger-like towers rising to size, smoke billowing out from the various crematoriums, and a sense that your work, whilst done right now, may have only just begun.
That's the thing. The minute I get out and I like get to the end of like, I get out of the building and I feel the sort of weight on and off, as you said, like a sort of mental weight, but a sort of physical weight relieved. I pull out the soul trinket and go, Rhymes.
Oh, well, hello.
You still happy in there?
Yes, this is a quite interesting confinement, but it's quite nice not to be laid down with various bugs and limbs. And yeah, this is quite a you know what? An adjustment is needed.
Yeah. Well, first up, I'm going to see what I can do about getting you out of here into a body, if you want. Okay. And then we're going drinking.
Sounds delightful. What's drinking? And that's where we'll end this mortuary episode, as Navarre makes it back into Sigil. But who knows when they will return to the mortuary itself. As what you didn't see, as in this reception hall, again, these people are sort of complaining about being brought back unexpectedly. The individual going, well, you see, I think I was supposed to die, but I went too soon. But now I'm back, and I don't say it. And suddenly the shipping and receiving, other corpses start to come back to life. The shoots of bodies just moving as death seems to have ended, and people are starting to come back to life.
Not my problem for today.
I didn't think it was your problem.
It's that classic, like, everything's going wrong, but I've done my job.
I've done my side quest.
Yeah. Mortuary Part 2 is when I have to deal with that shit. Right now, I'm just going to let it build up. It's the sort of cutaway to the end. As you said, like the post-credit scene is the mortuary filling up and all this stuff.
Yeah, very Marvel's mid-credits.
Yeah, exactly. Whilst Navarre's just at the bar eating shawarma.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Well, there you go. That's the mortuary. The tone's shifted, I'll admit.
Yeah, it did.
But
was that all right? I don't know.
Yeah, I love that. I think to be fair, because we've done it over so many weeks, I think also, I'm sure you felt it, but I've been tired sometimes, and I'm like, you know what? Let's just go into the silliness of it. And certainly what you rolled was literally on the sheet, the mortuary chambers thing was, because I looked at it, I thought, oh, that'd be fun if that comes up, was a reception hall that smells of funeral potatoes. And you rolled it. So
is that a thing?
I don't know. I had a quick Google. I don't know is the answer. So that's why there's lots of root vegetables everywhere.
I love the root vegetable chat.
Yeah, but then I was like, what else would be a reception hall for but a waiting room? And I was like, I know what I can draw on at this point. So yeah, it's different, right? Because that's the thing, is we had the horror stuff, we've had the combat, and now we had almost like a tiny bit of a puzzle of you trying to work out, basically trying to get a parcel through what I would describe as a Royal Mail experience.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty close. It's very good. Well, no, that was good. And I was the twist of it being the twin. I was like, of course, that makes so much bloody sense.
Really, you know what? I hadn't. This is the thing. So none of that I had written down at all.
Right.
Like, we did it through rolling and all that sort of thing. And then fancy name generator, one of them has come up as Enoin. And then you made the connection, because you'll know it when you see it. I was like, holy shit, that does work. So that was very cool.
I love it.
This is what I love about like improv and stuff like that. We didn't force that at all.
I hadn't prepared that speech. I was like,
that was great.
You made it. I was like,
but here's the thing. that's exactly what I thought would be on that letter.
Yeah,
it wouldn't be a demand for something.
No, it was going to be I'm really sorry.
I'm sorry.
It's
I apologize.
Yeah. It's a regret, isn't it? Yeah.
But we were on the same wavelength. That's why I didn't want to interrupt you, because I was like, I think you know what's going to be on it, and it didn't matter, because that's what I felt. But if he'd said, actually, it's like, you know, I knew this day would come.
It could have been the switcheroo of like, ha, you're dead sort of thing, you know.
Well, yeah, and the thing is that would have also been a great choice as well. And this is what I really love about the sort of more loose mechanics of creating the stories together, certainly when it's just two of us, because that's a really interesting choice. And then I have to react and give you something.
It's much more manageable in that situation. Maybe, I don't know. It is manageable in bigger situations as well, but it's a little easier to come by and a little bit more regular to come by, I guess, in a smaller setting, because you haven't got to manage everyone.
Because I think sometimes if you have no matter if you have a very small party, if you have a big party, if you've got all this story in your head, and you're sometimes like me, you don't get it, you don't use the right words and you don't communicate it well, people won't get the story.
No,
And
it's
they'll be
true.
like, wait, I can't think, what am I supposed to be doing? And
Like me and Bowie said, like, I'm going to have to record additional scenes to make this make sense, which is
which is fine, but it's that sort of thing. So that's why I quite like going. So, what do you think is on the letter? Because that's what you're thinking with all the stuff that's coming out. You kind of made the connection of the sibling, and you'll know it when you see that sort of thing. So instantly, you've already set that up. So in my head, I'm like, well, I have an idea what it would be, but I want to see what you come up with, and then I can react to that. So I thought that was a really cool end of it. We would not have expected from the beginning of
not where I thought it was going to go. I was thinking, like, is it going to be like a really big person? Is it going to be a really small person? Is it going to be trigger mark on their face that's like X marks the spot? I don't know. Like, I had no idea, and so I was thinking, or it was just going to be something that would ring a memory in my brain, as in like it's some magical effect they've done that it would like when I see it, I will then go, I'll hear their voice and they'll be like, this is the one.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, again, it's a rule in improv, which you should always define the thing straight away. Because you're like, oh, thank you so much for the gift. Yes, well, I thought you'd like it. Oh, that's so kind of you. How did you know? Like, what the fuck is it? And I thought it's a little bit like that, girl, and you know it when you see it. But it's just more, again, it's that whole thing going, like, if you go, this is it. Here's the thing that you find as the player, the shiny thing. And then I can go, ooh, that's so much better than what I had, what, if anything, I had.
No,
planned.
I like that.
Yeah.
Look at you being all clever improv, eh?
Improv. Yeah. Yes, and.
Fiona, yes, and Howard.
That's me. All the merch comes out, but that's what I want people to take away from, because like I run published adventures, but I use that as a framework to then go, oh, here's this, here's that, and this was like I think one of the most loosest things I've run, but just having an idea of like, okay, so then there's this and then there's that, because I could have easily, if you'd said something like, actually, I am the best wizard of them all, blah 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 blah, or if you, I don't know, smash the skull or anything like that, then I'm like, oh, well, maybe then darker forces happen, etc. Because we'd already rolled for this idea that people are coming back to life from that first episode. Like, if then, what else? And so it made sense. Like, you're not necessarily dealing with that because you're like, well, this is my mission. I'm going to go do this. So of course you're like, yeah, I'm going to leave that. That's not my problem.
It's really not. It's the way Navarre would do it. It's like, that's not my problem. I've got a job to do and I'll have another one later.
But you can imagine if you were in a group of people, maybe a cleric's like, going, this is really bad. We need to sort this out.
Be like, nah, that is me. My character in Strahd is like, nope, let's just burn it all. And everyone's like, no, we should really have it. No, just burn the house down. Just burn the house down. That's what I.
And that's the thing is, this is what's great. What's the difference between, like, say, video games and then role playing games, especially if you're on your own, is that video games you can go complete the quests at your leisure, but then they might get shut off if you pick one companion over a different one, etc. Or if you do what I did in Dragon Age and left someone in the starting village and then the whole village got burnt down and I felt guilty, so I could never play that game again. The story continues on without you. That's why I know people go, oh, Fiona, you always do this thing like what you don't see. I love doing the what you don't see.
No, I think it's great.
You, the player, can see what's happening, but you, the character, does not see what's happening because it doesn't involve you. And I use it all the time because I think it's such a cool, because I don't want you to be like, oh, well, you didn't get this bit of information, so you don't get this access to the story. It's like, bullshit. Of course you want access to that. You want the DLC, even if you don't have an impact on it. Because I find rarely do people go, oh, we should have gone and done this. I would have done that thing.
Abrea does that. She did that when she did the EXU and did little post-credit scene things.
She's great at doing that. I think that must be where I was inspired from it.
I stole it when I did Shattered Realm. I was like, post-credit scene now, because everyone has to have one.
Yeah, it's that sort of thing where, because I'm sure you've had it as well, when you get to the end of a session, like we're kind of doing now, where we're sort of like picking it and analysing it. It goes, oh, what would have happened if we'd done this? And I could have been like, oh, you do this, and this. He goes, oh, well, I totally would have done that if I'd gone through. You didn't know of the choice, right? I'm always a big fan of telling people, not like the full story, but like, here's that you're going to have to make a decision. You got to go do these things. And even if and obviously it works very well for horror, because you want to be like, here's some story bits. Are these okay? Yeah. But also just because then it's that expectation. It comes back to that whole, that transparent DMing thing. I didn't really do it too much in this one, but when you go, oh, the DC is 15.
Oh yeah. I'll always tell them.
It's more exciting when people go, oh, I got a 16, or like, and then, oh shit, I only got a 12.
I think that depends on thing, but I'm always giving it away. I'm like, it's DC 15.
I think you should do. And I didn't do it too much this time because, again, I wanted to be more free-flowing, but it's more exciting to know the DC rather than hiding it.
I think it's only useful when it's like you want to let them not know if it's a deception or not. That's the only time I don't use it. That's the only thing. It's like if you want to do an insight, I'll be like, okay, roll.
Yeah.
and then I won't tell them because that's more fun. But I totally agree with the every other time.
I've talked about this before and other things, but just, yeah, I think that sort of style of DMing is so much more interesting.
Yeah.
And that's the same with the collaboration as well. That, yeah, just being open and being like, and just guiding that thing
Yeah.
But I think it's a certain type of GM that can do that, because it's about going, hey, I don't have the story, but we're going to do it together. And I know some players don't like that. Some players are like, I don't want to create anything. I just want to play. And you're like, that's cool. But I think there's just something juicier and just something more interesting, that, because like this story that we've created over 3 sessions, we would not have created it any other way.
What I've really enjoyed, though, is being properly DM'd by Fiona, TTW Rising Star, Fiona, Katie Howard. I really enjoyed the story, and I think you are... You know what? You're pretty good at this.
You'll go far.
You'll go far with this. No, it was honestly
That's
really
very kind
good.
of you.
I really appreciated it. I really appreciated being a player. I really enjoyed the one-on-one sort of gameplay. I've not done that apart from like little sessions where it's been momentary things.
Yeah.
It's been nice to do a proper like 3-part, like a couple of sessions in one character.
And I think we've talked about it before, this idea of one-on-one stuff. That obviously doesn't have to be with your partner, or, you know, it could be some, you know, with your kid, or just trying it out. I guess I think because people get very worried about like, oh, but we've only got 1 player, and I'm like, yeah, that's great. I mean, I DM for 2 players like quite a lot.
It's all about me.
Yeah, I get to, as long as they're okay with like, okay, you're gonna have lots of decisions, but as long as you meet that, again, tailing that experience.
And you might have to manage a few characters at the same time, sort of thing. As in, if you're going to be fighting, you might need to be managing secondary characters and stuff.
I will say combat is not my forte, but thanks to D&D Beyond's encounter builder, I was like, well, I can quickly put this together. And
it was not bad. It was fine.
It did all right, I think.
You should have given me rhymes, to be honest. You were doing quite a lot.
Yeah, I should have given you rhymes, because that would have been a bit cooler for you to do. But I didn't know rhymes would become a big thing. I thought you could have left him, and they'd be like,
I'm not leaving him.
Enjoy storming the castle. Bye. You know, that sort of thing. Well, Hamilton, thank you so much. This is sort of the end of series, sort of actual play that we normally do here.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. And even though we've recorded a couple of episodes for season 6, this is obviously the end of season 5.
Yeah. What will be out? Will have Planescape come out?
Planescape would have been out, and I think
it would have been just those 2, wouldn't it?
I think it might be just those 2. Who knows? We've got a couple of others. We've got a bonus episode with Jess Jewell, who is of Questing Time, who did Encyclopedia Magica, which is a very interesting one. I think you'll enjoy that one, Hamilton.
Sounds interesting.
We've also done The Book of Many Things.
Yes.
We've done Epic Legacy Player Guide, and I got a couple of other things that I can't remember just off the top of my head just now, because we've done so much. Which is
busy.
It's just nice. It's just nice. What would you say, I guess, over the last year, which I appreciate is a long thing, anything that sticks out to you in general about D&D, DM's Book Club, anything at all?
What a roller coaster.
I mean, it has been a bit wild, I will admit.
I think we need to do an episode in January that is just like we did last time, which is a look back on the year, because I think but if we're doing it now, we're doing it now, which is the fact that like January
terrible
was like D&D at its lowest, and what an interesting time to be alive in the D&D world, and being around in that time. It was kind of strange. And then the whole Keys of the Golden Vault coming out, which was then sort of marred by that whole experience. But the movie couldn't have been better timed, I would say, because if you're going to do the fuck up now, have the movie ready to go. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
I enjoyed the movie. I know it wasn't your cup of tea as much, but I really enjoyed it. And it's a marvelization of movies, and we could all get into how the death of cinema. But I think it was actually, a solid fare out of all of those things.
We've had stuff like obviously we've had Big B's Glory of the Giants, which then maybe another low point talking about AI art, but then sort of brought back with Phandelver, the Shattered Obelisk coming out.
I feel like needs a bit more time on, really, as well.
We need to have a proper look at it, because we've done the starter set already for The Lost Minds of Phandelver, but we've covered stuff like that. Planescape was the latest one.
Planescape, and then Book of Many Things, as we all know, is going to be my highlight of the year. I think it definitely is.
Yeah, but that episode's not going to be out till season 6.
Oh, so ignore that then. But Planescape, solid response to a remake.
Dragonlance was already out, wasn't it?
No, Dragonlance was this year. It was December last year, but we didn't do it till this year.
Okay, there you go.
Dragonlance. I enjoyed it. I really liked it. I didn't like some of the art in it. I thought some of the I like the maps, but I didn't like the sort of CGI art they did, which I wasn't too keen on. But I thought the story, we just felt the story was weird. I remember I listened back to when we did it a while ago, and it was like, they just needed to recontextualize the ending, because it was like, I don't get the motivations quite working here, and why I'm going to leave here to go find a floating city, House Moving Castle. It was good, and some really cool stuff in it.
And there's been quite a few compendiums out as well. Like, you know, obviously, like you said, stuff to do with the movie, like Thieves Gallery, legendary items, obviously the Mortuary stuff. There's extra stuff coming out. There was also, I mean, we might cover it at some point, but the Saving the Children's Menu Heroes Feast inspired adventure that's just come out, and you're like, more stuff. So it's been an interesting year with lots of content. Like, you can't say they've not worked hard.
And next year's going to be the bigger year, because next year leads us into 1 D&D and the 50th anniversary.
Yeah, and of course we didn't even touch on how much UA has been out. Like, we couldn't keep up.
No. Travel Book Club finally got out as well this year. Well, that's on the list, isn't it, Fiona? I've already started reading. The Inner Planes.
The Inner Planes. I'm looking
forward to that.
I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be good fun. Yeah, we've got a whole list of stuff.
Maybe GM's Book Club might come out next year as well. Fiona.
Fingers crossed. All I say is fingers crossed.
Let's edit a couple of notes.
You're right. Yes. To sign us off for the year, Hamilton, where can we find you on the interwebs? What are you up to? Do you have any recommendations, like either TV or film, that you'd watch over the Christmas period? It doesn't have to be festive. I'll say that right now, because obviously some films are not festive. Yeah. You're going to say Die Hard, I know.
Well, that's a given, because I watch it every year and I put up my tree, so that'll be next couple of weeks. And then... Oh, geez.
Sorry, I know. I should have mentioned this much earlier.
You could have given me some time on this one.
I was playing several skulls and rhymes.
Exactly. I just came up with a loving letter to a sister who died. So, like, what I recommend is you should check out Cult Divinity Lost Stream.
Oh, no, not for Christmas. Not for Christmas.
No, not for Christmas. Scrooged. With Bill Murray. Bill Murray's version of Scrooge from the early 90s is one of the most wacky, crazy versions of Scrooge story. I love it. I've watched that movie. It's one of my watched it millions of times movie.
Cracking.
It's absolutely cracking. It's TV mogul Scrooge. And it's got the guy who talks like this in it, who I really love. He's really good. There's some content warnings in there, I'm sure, because I haven't watched it in a few years, but I'm assuming there are. But there's like dead bodies and stuff like that, and there's some
for films that you've really loved, and then you come back and go, oh yeah, it's a little bit offensive.
It's probably So I haven't gone back to it in a while. But if you like Bill Murray and you like the story of Christmas Carol and you want it with a twist, there's one for you. There you go. Aww. That's my recommendation. How about you?
That's a good chance. You can find me all over the internet as WAR_podcast.
Oh yeah, I had other things to talk about, but you were like,
I know.
It's
too late. We know who you are, Hamilton. Hazard Stripes on YouTube. What am I rolling? Which is obviously a twice monthly RPG one-shot podcast, where you can find wherever you listen to podcasts. Recommendations for stuff for Christmas. My mum and my sister's favourite Christmas film is obviously A Muppet's Christmas Carol. So that's always a given.
It is a great.
But I would want to recommend, because I know lots of people always talk about Love Actually. And I enjoy Love Actually. It's very silly. But I do want to recommend The Holiday instead, which is the Cameron Diaz.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Kate Winslet. Yeah, because that is a little bit different. Like, it's not to everyone's cup of tea. Again, that sort of, holiday rom-com stuff. Because obviously, if we get to Hallmark, it's going to be the same sort of thing. But yeah, I thought about it, and actually, it is quite a decent film.
Rachel found Hallmark movies last year, and she didn't know what they were. And so she was just watching them, and she was like, these are really bad. And I was like, yeah, why do you keep watching them? I don't know. I'm like, okay. And she was like, because, but how? And she was like, I'm watching them because I don't understand why someone made them. And I'm like, it's because they're made on TCM or Warner. They make a movie a week. It's like their version of Poirot. And she was like, oh, I now get it. Because she was like, I didn't get why someone had made these bad movies, and they're all made by the same people. They've got similar actors in them, and I was like,
similar actors. They all look very similar. All wearing the same clothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like come home for Christmas, away for Christmas,
and they're in the same sets and stuff like that. Yeah, and it was just one's in a shop with a magical shoe, one's in a shop with a magical toy, one's in a shop that needs to meet someone else.
They're all queuing up to use the same shop in their scenes.
It's just like, and she was just like, she got fascinated by them. She's like, I'm not watching those this year. And I was like, thank God. I don't know why we got into this.
If you're not into your films, or sometimes you're like, God, there's absolutely nothing on. There's always a decent like goggle box.
Yeah. You know what I did get, Fiona?
Or what
was at the charity shop the other day. Seasons 1 to 7 box set that only included 1 to 6 Game of Thrones DVD.
Oh,
for £15.
Oh,
bargain, right? It was a 1 to 7 box, but missing the 7th season. But everyone says it's shit anyway. And so I thought I could finally watch it because it's only a 15 quid. I'll get the old PlayStation out, I'll plug it in the TV, and I'm going to watch it.
That's a decent. You're going to enjoy that. That's a decent.
That's a bargain, right?
That's a bargain for 6 seasons.
6 seasons.
You can watch the other ones if you want.
Well, I could buy the 7th season. I find it. So I'm sure another charity shop has got the 7th season.
Yeah, that's your mission as Navarro. You're like, I'm fine. The missing disc of Game of Thrones. Brilliant. Well, with all that out of the way, thank you so much for listening to DM's World. Have a happy Christmas or a happy wintertide, etc.
Happy time to change of the year.
And a happy new year.
That's the one I was looking for. Yes, I was looking for what's the word? I was like, and have a change of year.
And a change of year, yeah. Have a wonderful Wednesday when this episode will go out.
Not that late.
And of course, we will see you on the flip side
of the year.
Of the year, absolutely.
Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye.